Hi guys, Ian and Matt from footballboots.co.uk. Today we're talking about the latest release from Nike, the Hypervenom 3s. That's right, there is a new release for the Hypervenom. It's a whole pack available for the Hypervenom. So you're talking about the Fades, the Fatales, the Felons. You've also got the Hypervenom X Proximos that have been updated as well. And they've all got this kind of half and half design. What's the colours?
So we've got poison green on the lateral side, and it's got an off-centre diagonal, and then it changes to a total orange with some black Nike swooshes. And you might even mention, just to start with, that the Nike swooshes are a little bit smaller than what we found on previous Nike silos. So that's just a bit of an update for it. Yeah,
they're marketing these as a finisher's boot nowadays. Seeing as Neymar has moved off into go and wear the Mercurial Vapors, they're talking about these as being a finisher's boot, and there's a few little additions for making it a finisher's boot. What are they?
Absolutely. So the first thing that they're trying to say is they want to make it really cutting. So they want to have that kind of attack-minded boots and make quick cuts across the pitch, and that's why you're going to see this new kind of style of dynamic fit collar, which is higher on the medial side of the boot compared to the lateral side. So it's kind of broken into two parts. The first part is that the ankle, apparently the foot itself is a little bit higher on the medial side in terms of where the bones are compared to the lateral side, and they've also merged that to make quick cuts across the pitch, so perfect for players like Aubameyang, Robert Lewandowski, and of course Marcus Rashford is now aware of the Hypervenom 3.
That's right, and he's wearing the low version. It's interesting, you see the picture of the players with these on, and you can't at a first glance notice who has got the collar ones on and who doesn't, but they're all wearing the green socks, and so the guys who've got the low ones on look like they're wearing the collar ones too. There is quite a few players who are opting for these, like Harry Kane, who wants the low version. But there's only difference is that height of the collar, so I've pretty much got myself a low one here now. All they've done is cut that off, so when we talked about cutting the collar back in videos way back when, we pretty much had the right idea that you can play and get the flying it in a lower cut version, and that's what Nike are bringing you now. So there we go guys, there's nothing wrong with cutting the collar sometimes. Other interesting things is the indoor version.
Yep. So obviously it's going to be quite mirrored to this boot, so they're going to keep it at very high level. So if you do play indoor football and you're playing at quite a good level, then you can get this kind of Phantom 3 in that. So it's going to come with a collar as well with that indoor. So is it going to have that same kind of collar with the medial side being a little bit higher than the lateral side?
Yeah, I believe so, and it has all those little technological kind of extras, so these little pods and stuff, and that will be...
So I think that's the most interesting thing for me about the Hypervenom Phantom 3 is that the pods themselves are made out of Poron. Now we had the Obra 2 which was launched, and that also had those kind of raised dimples across the upper, but the Phantom 3 takes it to a new level, and it does that because it's actually made out of a Poron material. And what they've done is, so when you try and control the ball, it becomes very soft, so it creates a very cushioned feel. But then when you go to strike with power, they just feel a little bit more rigid to add a little bit more purchase. So it's very clever, so there's actual kind of living technology within this boot.
That's right, that's right. Another big change obviously is with the sole plate, so they switched things up a little bit in the Hypervenom 3s. They've based it on the kind of pair of running shoes. They say they've been developing this for about 6 years, and it's based on the Nike runs, the Nike Free runs, and so that means it's just a little bit different than got your finish here. They've just changed it up a little bit. It means there's more flexibility in the forefoot here, and it still has that strength in the bit a little bit further on down the boot. So just an interesting little switch to the sole plate. The other thing they changed to the sole plate is
the studs themselves. So of course, if we look at the finished version here, we've got an AG variation, but looking at those finished version, they're just conical studs on an FG pair. But if Ian brings the Phantom 3 in a little bit closer, we can see there's actually 3 types of studs on these Phantom 3 boots. On the lateral side of the boot, we've got chevron shaped studs, which are brilliant for agility and those kind of attack-minded movements, brilliant for wingers and forwards. Now looking at the medial side of the boot, we've then got a hexagonal shaped studs, which are brilliant for pivoting and turning, so very universal, and then in between there's some breaking studs as well. So Nike have really thought this out very well, and I think they're going to be a very high performing boot.
So one of the nice additions with having this completely fly-knit upper, it now has these kind of external lacing hoops and everything on it, and they are adjustable. Something nice little touch.
Yeah, I think it's brilliant. Not only do they look really cool, I think it's a really nice touch, but they've actually used a lot more flywire this time. If we have a look at the Phantom 2 and also Finish, so there was 1 meter's worth of those flywire cables within the boot, but this time there's now 3 meters of the flywire. So it's going to make sure that the Phantom 3 is very responsive, and there's also going to be a high level of lockdown, which is a brilliant thing, especially for wingers and forwards, and that is what Nike are saying about the Phantom 3 boots. They're made to score goals, so hopefully that's exactly what they're going to do.
What do you think about about the colourway itself? Like, what do you think about what Nike have done there?
Well, I mean, if I bring in the Superfly 5, obviously this was the first time we saw one that had that half and half design go straight through the middle. I wasn't a fan of it. I'm still not. I mean, the Superfly colourway to me aren't great. I like the pitch dark because it was all black.
We're going to get a lot of stick though, because here we are wearing our half and half shirts.
I know, exactly right. I mean, like, I think it doesn't look too bad halfway down the middle. I know Superfly's a little bit different, but it's got a pinstriping across. But this is a little bit off centre as well, isn't it, going to the lateral side?
So what we're waiting for is Nike, if you're listening, a few months' time, bring out a half black, half orange boot.
Is that? I'd love that.
That's what we need to see.
I think
whole
orange
pack,
black,
maybe. Orange black pack.
Well, I think orange and black actually does look quite nice. We've seen a couple
we'll
of
get on the
out
phone,
there.
we'll talk to Nike, we'll see what we can do.
So if we actually take a close look at the upper itself and how it actually feels, it's very, very thin. It's going to be one of the thinnest feeling Hypervenoms you've ever felt. Obviously we've got the Phantom one in our hand here, which was known to be incredibly thin, barefoot and flexible. So that's what we're going to get with this new Phantom 3, because it is made out of Flyknit from heel to toe. It's very, very sock-like, and they've only added a very thin layer of Nike skin on top. So overall it's going to be a very thin boot, which is brilliant, but you still want to get nice purchase when striking the ball because of the pour on pods.
So we're talking about the Flyknit upper. You're obviously a massive fan of the finish.
They're my boots. These are my
finish
own
are gone
boots.
now. There is no finish in the Hypervenom range anymore. It doesn't exist. It's just the one without the collar is going to be called the Phantom, and then these are going to be the Phantom DF. So it's going to get confusing when you're looking at stuff. I don't even think they're necessarily going to be calling them Phantom Lows, but that's what they are really. What are you going to wear once you stop wearing your finish?
Well, to be fair, I've just purchased another pair of finish just to make sure that I'm going to have a pair of boots for this season that I'm going to like. So I've just stocked up on one more pair of finish for me. But if I had to choose the Phantom 3, I think they are a great boot, but I wouldn't go for the DF version. I'll go for the low version of the Phantom 3, because what we've always wanted at football boots is a Flyknit low cut boot, and that's exactly what you get. That's why we cut the collars, because the Flyknit construction is brilliant. There's no doubt about it, but we don't like the collar. So the Phantom 3 for me is actually going to be a perfect boot, and there's no doubt I'm going to buy it.
So Blake's been wearing the Superfly 4s with a cut collar, and he loves that with the Flyknit upper. So it's nice to see that it's actually available for players to wear. Obviously, a lot of players were looking for that, and it'd be interesting to see how many players maybe get drawn towards the Hypervenoms now that they can actually wear them. Exactly. Because obviously there's a lot of players who are moving away from the Hypervenoms, and so it'd be interesting to see if people are going to come back. There's obviously some things going on with the Magistas and the Opus. We're hearing some things about maybe a possible upper change on the Opus. Not a lot of people liking them. Talk about Iniesta not liking his Opus, and so maybe some players are moving away from the Magista, and maybe some more will come over to the Hypervenoms. It's just be interesting to see what happens there.
It's a good boot.
The thing is, Nike only has so many contracted players. Unless they go and get more contracted players, then players have to move around silos, and you see that happen. So yeah, there's going to be this new pack of colourways that are going to match up with these coming shortly for the other silos. Be interesting to see the colours. Talking about colours, we said black and orange halves, but any other colours that we'd like to see that we think would look good in Hypervenom coming up?
Well, obviously we made our own red Hypervenom, and that wasn't something that had happened before on the Hypervenom range. There wasn't any red colourway. So me personally, I do really like red boots. I think it's one of my own personal favourite colourways, starting from the Adidas Predator boots way in the past. I love the red ones that came out, so I would love to see an all red Hypervenom. If it was like that the whole way around, I think I'd like it, because it has a kind of total orange, almost crimson look to it, and I think red coloured boots are actually really nice and smart. So Nike, red boots please.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It would be nice if it was one colour all over. I think. Yeah. Electric green, it looks like one of those old Superfly 4s that Ronaldo wore. That would have probably been quite a nice colourway all the way over as well. It's, I've just had a thought, and it doesn't quite work. I was considering whether you could cut the boot in half and then glue it back together again and make like one colour that you wanted, but we won't do that, guys.
Don't do it to me.
We won't do it, it's okay, don't worry. Let's talk a little bit about weight. So, you got the Hypervenom 2s and the Hypervenom 3s. Hypervenom 3s heavier or lighter?
They're a lot lighter actually, so they actually weigh under 200 grams, they're about 196 grams, which is actually very lightweight for a Hypervenom boot, the lightest Hypervenom boot of all time, even though it still has that collar on there, because it is all Flyknit, there's kind of a lack of the other materials.
You lose a lot of weight when you do that.
It's very, very light.
There's not much else added, it's just these like the pads there, they themselves don't weigh too much. They probably maybe even stripped a bit of weight out of the sole plate as well.
They probably did. I mean, talking about 200 grams, there was also 200 prototypes made of this Hypervenom 3 boot. So Nike obviously spent a long time making these boots, there's no doubt about it. Sometimes there might be 1, 2, 3, 4 prototypes, but there was 200 prototypes before these were actually released.
Good testing process, but something they obviously needed to get right. And I think overall they probably have. Now, if you guys think that they've got it right, and if you want to get your hands on a pair of these, then they are not on the market just yet. You can't go find them, but they will be available from Nike.com on January 30th, and then they'll be everywhere else from January 2nd. They'll be on our website. If you want to get 10% off, you can use the code BlackOrange at Level Soccer. Otherwise, we will probably have them from the 30th, as I said, from Nike, and you can get them there as well. So go check out the website. Otherwise, guys, go enjoy your football. Thanks for watching.